Hello, everyone. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mark.
And
We're live on
Strange Stuff podcast, clearly. I'm kind of hoping we're not live because the subject today, I would say if we were live, I would probably get a knock on the door.
From who? The plod?
For the offensive accent that I'm going to be doing.
Where are we going?
We'll come to that later. But it's a mixture of two accents and it's going to be fabulous.
Pirates involved, I hope.
Yes.
Really? Fantastic. Oh, dear. Well, spring has arrived here. All the trees, leaves are budding and all sorts of stuff. So it's all happening.
Yeah, it's been really nice here as well. I can't fault the weather.
Though I've spent a lot of the week working down at the harbour. We have to rebuild one of the harbour walls, which is not really the job for two complete amateurs, but I'm working together with one of my friends doing it.
Oh, look who's back.
Oh! How long was he away?
5 fucking days.
Really?
Little bastard. He turned up on Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I was just on my way out to the shops.
And unscathed, just he was a bit hungry or tired?
He was starving, but he's always starving. I'm guessing that he was locked in somewhere. A shed or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Eh?
And has he left the house since?
Oh, yeah, I still let him out. But he doesn't, he just doesn't go far. But he doesn't stay out for long. That's why as soon as he didn't turn up for lunch, I knew that he was probably not coming home. Because he is not a stay-away.
Yeah, but now he may have got the sense of adventure. Maybe he's got a girlfriend somewhere.
No, he was fucking terrified.
Oh. But he found his way home.
Yep.
So one assumes it has to have been close by.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't go far.
Yeah.
I mean, I was walking around a bit shouting for him to see if I could hear his plaintive meowing, but
yeah.
He wouldn't have been very far away. He's been very needy since he's been back.
Yeah, I can imagine. Constant attention, I can see.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's one piece of good news for the week.
Oh, and I got paid.
Another piece of good news. So how many days late was it? A week?
I got paid on Wednesday.
All right.
So I don't know.
Well, that's more than a week, funnily enough.
Oh, yeah, it was more than a week.
And so do I take it the next one is your last from the company?
Yeah. Yeah, my last payday. Which is kind of frightening.
Oh. But now you've been in touch with this character at Arbets, is everything under control in terms of, the union pay and all of that sort of stuff? RCASM?
I mean, RCASM shouldn't be a problem. But that insurance that I spoke about is still an ongoing issue. It's not just me who's got problems. It's like
everybody.
The HR department in fucking Northvolt are a bunch of cunts. They've never done any work in their entire lives, and now they've got one job to do. They can't fucking do it.
So
we're snowed under. We've had to move from our barracks because they were repossessed, so we've had to move and try and get you paid. It's not easy. Fucking wankers.
Yeah.
That's such... whoever invented HR should be hung and shot.
Well, in our day, it used to be called personnel.
Yeah.
Why did that change?
Human resources.
I know, but what's wrong with personnel?
Personnel is so impersonal. Human resources makes it sound so much more executive and important. Whereas, in fact, they're just a bunch of fucking know-nothing cunts who just make your life a misery. They're there, basically, to protect the company. And most people don't realise this. they're a line of defence against the company and bad publicity. So whatever grievance you happen to have with HR, it doesn't matter if you're in the right or the wrong. If the result looks bad for the company, you're going to lose.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, you met up with some old colleagues at the end of last week, didn't you?
Yesterday, actually. Last night.
End of this week.
That was kind of a bit of a half-inflated balloon type night.
Well, the thing is that I assume some of the people are still working.
Only 4 out of the 20 of us who turned up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, I mean, they're probably or maybe not going to be working after the end of this month.
Oh, really? There's a risk of that's going to happen? People...
There was talk of finishing the lease on all of our machines, which would mean effectively closing the workshop. While at the same time, the guy who's running the workshop at the moment is trying to get everybody to do 4 people's jobs and be much more productive.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the motivation, mate?
Yeah.
Why should we kill ourselves for a company that's going to sack us at the end of the month, probably? Fuck off. And by the way, pay me, because, you know, the people who are still there are in the same boat. They're not getting paid on time.
Is that right? So even the people that are still there aren't getting paid. I haven't heard anything in the news about potential buyers or anything. It's all gone very quiet.
There's nothing to buy. If you take away everything that's been leased, everything, it's just nothing to buy. It's just a shell. It has no assets. All the people that were assets have gone.
Yeah. It's going to end up into a great big paddle centre. What's that sport that people do?
That's already died, hasn't it? That fad.
I know. But what's incredible is the number of paddle centres that sprung up in Sweden.
Well, it's like coffee shops. It's so stupid.
Well,
this is the next big thing. Let's open a paddle centre because people are going to do it for the rest of their lives.
I wonder if it's as popular in other countries. I don't know.
Do you know what? I still don't 100% even know what the game is because I took so little interest in this whole fucking issue. It's a bit like Zumba.
It's got a net. And I think you can play off the walls.
So it's basically squash tennis.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, it is basically squash tennis.
So it's just a fucking rip-off scam of 2 other games.
Oh.
We'll call it paddle and we'll make it all trendy. And you have to wear silky shorts.
I bet you'd enjoy that, silky shorts, wouldn't you, Andy? Or do you wear silk shorts every day?
I wear silky thong.
Oh, God.
A silky string up me crack.
I'll tell you what I stumbled on the other day. When you open, let me get this right, Facebook, it's got following and for you. Have we spoken about this before? So they're 2 column, 2 headings. And normally, I think it opens with the people you follow. So the stuff you're interested in. And then on the other side, it has for you.
Which is their suggestion of nonsense that they believe you should be interested in.
And I'll tell you what, I didn't see what was going on, and I happened to be on the for you thing. And scrolling down, it gets pretty caustic pretty quickly. I mean, it's really, really nasty stuff.
What, on Facebook?
I think it's Facebook. I'm sure it is Facebook. I'll have to check. But it was just, the content is truly shocking.
What sort of content?
Well, I don't know why they thought I'd be interested, but you
BDSM?
know that. No. It was all nasty, political, immigrants attacking the police, all of that sort of thing. But one thing that came up was a feed of, this person. Have you heard of this person? I think her name is Laura Loomer. She is this conspiracy theorist, influencer that literally has Donald Trump's ear. She was the one that walked into the Oval Office and said, you need to sack these generals. And 5 minutes later, he literally sacked the generals.
Yes.
I
think she probably gives an amazing blowjob.
Well, she reminds me, do you know the Game of Thrones? You know that fire witch?
Oh, the red witch.
Exactly. She reminds me of something like that. And she, bearing in mind she actually has access to Trump, she posted on this thing that I saw. I've only seen it once because now I'm conscious of only looking up for. She posted something about. Do you can you pick? You probably can't because you don't follow it as much as me. There's one particular senator who is Muslim, and she always wears quite ornate headgear and such like. She's a very smart-looking individual, not a nutter. And this Laura Loomer was describing her literally as a jihadist. She's a member of the, whatever, the something. And this woman is a senator. And this influencer woman is openly describing her as an extremist jihadist. And I was thinking, there are just simply no limits. There are literally no limits anymore.
There are no rules.
There are literally no rules. But one thing we've got to celebrate, I say we, I don't mean you and me, but England secured a fantastic trade deal with America. Yeehaw!
They didn't secure a fantastic trade deal.
Funnily enough, no, they didn't.
Donald Trump told them what they were getting. There was no discussion, no negotiation. It was, this is what you're getting, and this is what we're getting. And what a fucking load of bollocks.
I don't think the English farmers are very happy. I don't know how many farmers we have listening, but they're definitely not very happy because part of the agreement was that we would accept American beef.
Yeah, but I don't think people will buy it, to be honest, because...
Would you?
The Food Standard Agency in America is a bit like the Dole office in England. It's full of people who don't really do much of a job.
It's, they've all been sacked anyway now. Doge. Here's an interesting, questionable statistic, but it was on a reputable program that I was, it's not some internet thing. Guess how much beef that's described as American beef, what proportion of American beef is actually raised in America? I mean, American beef with an American flag.
Well,
American
technically
beef.
It should be 100%. But
Yeah,
I'm guessing it's a lowball number.
It is a lowball number.
Probably 15 or 20.
Well done. No, you were spot on. 15% of so-called American beef is raised in America. The rest just comes
gets its
from
green card. Mexico.
The rest comes from Mexico, Canada, Brazil.
All those damn countries where those bloody immigrants come from.
And I don't know, I can't quite understand what because they can't possibly bring all these cattle in live, so they can describe them as American cattle because they once set foot on. I mean, they have to have killed them.
They give them a green card as they're passing through the border on the back of a lorry.
I think if they butcher the meat, the carcasses in America, then it's classed as American beef. So I don't know what it means. So this trade deal where they say we can now import American, I don't know what it means because they don't actually do any beef in America. Well, they do, but it's just, I mean, it's quite interesting that what's his face Putin was having afternoon tea with Chi Chi. Who's the Chinese guy? Dai Chi or I don't know.
Z or E. It's a two-letter word, isn't it?
It is a two-letter.
I don't know.
But they were having afternoon tea together. And of course, Trump is now pissed off with Putin because
what? Because he broke the ceasefire already. What do you expect? That's what he does.
well,
Fuck's sake! If he says, "Okay, we have ceasefire now for 10 days,"
do you remember? Do you remember when I can't remember what the son-in-law is called? The one that looks a bit skeletal. He looks a bit like a ghost. Trump's son-in-law went off to the Middle East with a divorce lawyer to solve the Middle East crisis. He then sent this fellow, I can't remember his name, it's someone like Wichita or something, Will Wiki or something. He sent a property lawyer to Russia to negotiate a peace settlement. And what's even more shocking is that this real estate developer lawyer was as an official capacity representing the White House, was sitting with Putin by himself without any support, no translator, no nothing, had to rely on Putin's translator to translate for him. And those were the only terms that Putin would meet up with me. Well, you fucking idiot. I mean...
Tell him to nod his head if he is an arsehole. I mean, don't laugh.
It was just ridiculous. I mean, really. It's all gone crazy, I have to say. Well, I've said it. I've been saying it for weeks, saying it for months. It's all gone crazy. But anyway... other than that, what's been in the news? I don't think too much exciting has happened this week, has it? Or have I missed something?
Oh, only Prince Harry getting lost in London. He's still griping because he's not entitled to police protection anymore. And he says he doesn't feel safe.
Well,
and then he went to visit one of his mates in fucking Knightsbridge, and he was captured on several people's Ring doorbells knocking on the wrong doors.
Don't be ridiculous.
I'm telling you, they showed a picture of him through someone's Ring doorbell.
No.
Does Fatty Arbuckle live here?
No.
Yes. He fucking went round knocking down Ginger, basically, because he didn't know where his posh mate lived.
What's knocking down Ginger? What's that expression?
Oh, come on, you must have played that when you were a kid, when you just knock on someone's door and run away.
Oh, that's what it's called, knock on Ginger.
Knock down Ginger.
Knock down Ginger. Why that name?
Because I think the cunt would knock you down if they caught you.
Yeah, but why Ginger, I mean?
I don't know. Probably, I don't know. Maybe started off with knocking on someone's door, calling him a ginger fucker, and then running away.
Is discrimination about redheads, is there something called a gingerist or something, a gingerism?
It's definitely a hate crime, isn't it?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking. Is it a hate crime?
Oh, I hope so. Otherwise, what's the point?
What was why do people pick on redheads? Is it because they all came from up north?
That's because they steal your soul, don't they?
Do they? Is that what redheads do?
Yeah. Every time they steal a soul, they get an extra freckle.
Where do you get this stuff?
It's true. I can prove it.
Every time they steal a soul, they get an extra freckle. The bollocks that you come up with, Andy. Or is that some...
It's a fact.
It's a myth.
It's a fact.
It's an actual myth, is it?
It's an actual fact.
Really?
Anyway, talking of actual facts, let's get into it. Now, I need to clear my throat because I've got to do some real acrobatics this week with my voice.
Make sure I can understand it.
Well, as you correctly guessed, there will be a pirate accent, but it won't be your North Country Cornish type accent.
North Country Cornish, that's south, yes.
Whatevs.
Where's it come from? Jamaica.
Do you remember when we spoke about like the British pirates and how most of them turned out to be fucking upper class twits who were just playing at sailor.
Yes, mildly, yeah. With letters from the Queen.
Yeah. And some of them, not even that. They just fancied it because it was better than hanging out of the House of Lords or whatever.
Weren't they actually allowed to pirate the attack the Spanish as long as it wasn't? Yeah, as long as they didn't attack British ships.
Yeah,
it was sort of semi-allowed.
They were basically mercenaries.
Yeah, for Britain.
Yeah.
Anyway, not those.
Not those, but probably the most successful pirate of all time.
Black. He's got black in his name. Black eye, black peas, black
You
foot.
mean Blackbeard?
Blackbeard.
Not even close. In fact, if you look at the numbers, Blackbeard was pretty much just a petty pickpocket compared to this person.
I think you're going to start talking about some corporate pharmaceutical company of modern era.
No, I'm going back to at least the 1800s. I will get to the date. It was basically the dawn of the 19th century, so early 1800s.
Was it an English bloke?
Oh, I don't even know if I can do this. But at the turn of the 19th century, a former prostitute from a floating brothel in the city of Canton
in China
wed a chap called Cheng Shih, who was a fearsome pirate who operated in the South China Sea in the Qing dynasty.
Qing dynasty, and you reckon that was the early 1800s?
Yes.
All right.
Now, one of the names under which we now know her is Cheng Shih, which basically means Cheng's widow. But the legacy she left behind far exceeded that of her husband.
Are we talking the biggest, most successful pirate in the world was in fact a she?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. She's also known as Cheng Yi Sao or Zheng Yi Sao. And following his death, and the stories surrounding his death are varied. Some people have him lost in a storm at sea, and other people have him murdered in Vietnam.
So this woman, she was a brothel
23.
keeper, or she was a prostitute?
No, she was a prostitute.
And she married this bloke.
She did, and he chose her specifically because, he was obviously a customer.
I can imagine why he chose her.
And obviously he enjoyed banging her, but he obviously saw something in her business acumen because he took her on board as basically a wife and an equal partner. She said that she was all in as long as she got to have a say in how his pirate fleet was run.
They did things differently in China, didn't they? Can you imagine in England if Blackbeard had some woman
let's look at Blackbeard. Blackbeard commanded 4 ships and 300 pirates.
There were 75 pirates on a ship.
Oh, that was if you had plenty of legroom. If you went Ryanair pirate.
Yeah.
Now, following her husband's death, she succeeded him. Can you stop that dinging?
I can't. I'll do it in a second. Carry on.
And she commanded over 1,800 pirate ships with an estimated 80,000 men.
Yeah, you see, you're describing them as pirate ships. If you've got 1,200 ships, that sounds a bit...
1,800.
1,800 ships, that sounds a bit... That's like their navy.
No, it was
Chinese Navy.
It was bigger than the Chinese Navy. She ruled the China Sea.
I would like to know your definition of ship.
Something that floats and holds about 100 people. Pirates, preferably.
let me do the 1,800. No, actually, funny enough,
1,800 ships,
and 80,000 men.
80,000 men.
Well, that must be roughly 75 a head. I mean, it's basically the same. Really?
She was absolutely, unquestionably, the greatest pirate who ever lived, according to Laura Suk Duncombe, who was the author of Pirate Women, the Princesses, Prostitutes, and Privateers Who Ruled the Seven Seas. She pirated for longer, she made more money, and at the end of her pirating career, she surrendered of her own free will, got to keep her money, and lived out the rest of her days in freedom, as opposed to being cornered and murdered by a government like Blackbeard and his ilk. Ching's husband, Cheng Shih,
who's still alive.
No, he died. When he died, she succeeded him.
Yeah, exactly.
Been through that.
Yeah, that's right. I got that bit. That's why I'm surprised.
So when he was alive, he was the commander of the Red Flag fleet of pirate ships, and he'd managed to unite quite a few rival Chinese pirate organizations. And he married the 26-year-old Cheng Shih in 1801. So she was born in the 1700s. And Ching participated absolutely 100% fully in her husband's piracy. The story goes that Cheng sought his bride out due to her reputation as a shrewd businesswoman, which basically meant she was a bit of a blackmailer, because she used the secrets she learned as a prostitute to wield power over her wealthy and politically connected clients. Now, there's no real documentation to support this tale, but her financial savvy certainly became undeniable over the course of her career in piracy. It was said that she demanded equal control of the pirate fleet as a condition of her marriage, and where business acumen starts to display itself is in the way she became the overall head of the entire confederation. Female pirate leaders were a very rare phenomenon. There's only one other woman commander that we're aware of, a Mrs. Hon Cho Lo, who was active in Hong Kong in the first half of the 20th century.
Hang on, how big was the fleet when the hubby had it, the Red Fleet?
Not as big. We're getting to that. 6 years into their marriage, Cheng Yi died at the age of 42. As I say, there's not much known about how he died. Some say he was killed by a tsunami at sea, while others say he was murdered in Vietnam. But regardless of his circumstances, his death left Cheng Shih in quite a precarious situation. Her husband's adoptive son and heir, Cheng Po Sai, was originally the one to inherit control of the Red Flag fleet. Now, Cheng Po Sai, however, was more than just Cheng Shih's stepson. The young fisherman had also been her husband's lover.
Her husband's lover?
Yeah. So,
hang on, I'm getting confused now. This was a boy?
Yes.
So we're talking
although
about
a sexual relationship between an adoptive son and his father may strike you as a little bit unusual, the adoption itself was not entirely out of place. Unlike in the West, adult adoption was often practiced in China in order to establish a kinship basis for further interaction, particularly of a business or discipleship sort. Cheng Yi adopting an adolescent fisherman's son just wasn't out of the ordinary.
Yeah, but having Nookie with him probably was.
Probably. But, he's the pirate leader. What are you going to say? Not tonight? Got a headache?
And he was doing this while he was married to the prostitute.
Yeah. He's a pirate. Does what he wants, fuck's sake. He runs the Red Fleet.
Do you think as many Chinese pirates only had one leg as English pirates? Because most English pirates seem to only have one leg.
If you watch Netflix, that's probably true. They have a hook on the hand and a parrot on the shoulder as well.
So So are we going to get to a bit of a bust up between the adopted son lover and wife?
We will. So, within weeks of Cheng Yi's death and him becoming the overall fleet commander, Cheng Shih took Cheng Po as her lover, eventually solidifying the relationship through marriage. So soon, she managed to maneuver herself back into power.
Oh, so there wasn't fisticuffs. There was actually...
Oh, she fucked it
puss,
out.
puss. Well, there we go. Well, that's one way to resolve issues.
So
he was having a bit of a time, this young lad, wasn't he?
Keep it in the family. I mean...
Clearly.
She must have been sort of all right, I'm guessing. I don't know.
I imagine so. Can you imagine? Let's suppose this bloke had 1,000 ships. So this girl who's working in a brothel manages to talk her prospective husband into splitting half his enormous fleet with her.
I bet she could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
I mean, it's not like, oh, give me half the house and I'll marry you. This is give me half your 1,000 ships and I'll marry you. Oh, yes, all right, darling. And he wasn't even that interested in women if he was having it away with his adopted son.
Well, you know, he was a pirate chief and he just did what he wanted. Anyway, as a woman in command of a huge pirate fleet, Cheng Shih had her work cut out for her because pirate vessels often had a few women on board, but it's not clear to what extent they were actually practicing pirates.
What do you mean they weren't? What,
well,
slaves?
They were probably
sex
more
slaves?
Entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Bit of a cabaret in the evening.
If you've got a bunch of men with swords rattling sabres and drinking raucously every night, you better have a few entertainers.
Can you imagine? That must have been pretty awful. 75 men on board.
Yeah, you'd have to have at least, 2 girls?
I was going to say 20.
Oh no, you've got to feed the fuckers. You're looking at the times. You've got to really watch your rations on board a ship. You can't have people who aren't contributing. You can't feed them. Now, unlike in the West, in South China there wasn't a stigma attached to women being on board a ship, because in England especially, it was always considered bad luck. Bad luck if there's a woman on board. It means we can't play hide the sausage with the cabin boy.
God.
That's what it was all about, wasn't it? Hello, sailor.
You are so antiquated in your stereotypical view of the world.
Yeah, but uncannily accurate as well.
Hello, sailor. You are just useless. Oh, dear. All right, so come on then. This woman who's managed to marry her effective son-in-law.
So now she's managed to grab control of the Red Flag fleet, but it still wouldn't have been easy for anyone, much less a pirate's widow, to control so many outlaws. Now, an East India Company employee named Richard Glasspool was captured by Cheng Shih's pirates in September of 1809. And he was held for a few months until December of that year. And in his account of the ordeal, he estimated that there were 80,000 pirates under Cheng Shih's command and some 1,000 large junks and 800 smaller junks and rowboats.
Now we're getting to it. Rowboats.
She's only got 1,300 real ships.
Rowboats.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, you answered my earlier question. She had 20 big ships and 1,780 rowboats.
1,000 large junks and 800 smaller junks.
The thing is, the East India Company, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Most of their trade was done Indian subcontinent and Thailand and Indonesia, wasn't it? That was the bulk of the business. But when you think of China, if these people are Chinese, obviously, they didn't do much business with Japan and Taiwan. England didn't.
They generally did war.
So the Chinese had to sort of come down into Indonesia to intercept the trade ships, didn't they?
I guess.
It's a fair old distance. Anyway, carry on. Yeah. I wonder what they were stealing, because there wasn't an opium. Was it? Oh, of course, there was an opium business in those days.
I mean, anything. If there's a ship travelling between two countries, it is laden with something.
Yeah, but the thing is that you've got to have a market for it. Where do they sell this stuff?
Oh, you can create a market.
Anyway, carry on.
So,
or is that it?
Yeah, that was it. The end. See you next week. Fucking hell.
Oh, dear.
So, Cheng Shih unified an enormous fleet of rowboats and pirates using a certain code of laws, and the code was strict. Any pirate caught giving his own orders or disobeying those of a superior was to be beheaded on the spot.
Well,
the code was particularly unusual in its laws regarding female captives. Now, this is where it wouldn't have gone down so well. If a pirate raped a female captive, he would be put to death.
Captain or captive?
Captive.
Captive, yeah.
He would be put to death.
All right.
Now, to be honest, in piracy, that used to be one of the perks.
I don't know, were they all deviants
a bit of raping
in that
and
regard?
Pillaging.
No, that was more Viking era.
And pirates, I think you'll find. If the sex between the pirate and the captive happened to be consensual, then they would both be put to death.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah. So
there was an absolute embargo on having sexual relationships with your captives.
Yes. I mean, but that would make it a little bit of an exercise when you go out on shore leave and you pull a bird in a bar. What if someone decides that she's now your captive?
I mean, it seems that women just generally have better ideas than men in this regard. Pirating, I mean. Clearly, you're saying she's the most successful pirate leader ever, by a long shot.
There's further accounts of her code that state if a pirate took a captive as a wife, he then had to be faithful to her.
Yeah, you see, these are very sensible rules.
Although others, such as captains, could have multiple wives.
Oh, really? There was a bit of polygamy going on in those days, was
and
there?
Also a class system, clearly. Whatever they thought about her, it's pretty clear that the pirates respected and obeyed her authority. The Red Flag Fleet under Cheng Shih's rule went undefeated, despite many attempts by the Qing dynasty officials, the Portuguese Navy and the East India Company to vanquish it. After 3 years of notoriety on the high seas, Cheng Shih finally retired in 1810 by accepting an offer of amnesty from the Chinese government. And what precipitated the surrender seems to have been in a conflict between the Black and Red Flag fleets and their leaders, which first led to the surrender of the Black Flag fleet and then ultimately to the Red Flag fleet.
So the Chinese government just pardoned her?
Yeah. Basically. It was okay, you stop doing it and we'll just let it go.
So I wonder what happened to the 80,000 employees of this enterprise.
Well, I would imagine 80,000 new pirate companies set up overnight.
I was going to say. So I wonder, I mean, this is literally only 220 years ago. I wonder if there are any survivors of this dynasty of pirate, whatever her name was.
No, because we still can't live that long.
I said, did I say survivors?
Yes.
Oh, I meant what do you call it?
Descendants.
Descendants, survivors.
Yeah, she's still alive.
She's
she
still
does
alive.
she does weekend shifts at McDonald's down in Barking.
No, but you know what I mean. They must have because she must have amassed an enormous wealth.
Oh yeah. I mean, just the cost of running a navy that size.
When was the communist revolutionary thingy in China? When was that?
Oh God, I don't know. Let's throw in a nasty one.
Maybe she only lost, because it's the sort of thing that a couple hundred years ago, if families suddenly accumulate enormous wealth, it sort of protects them against changes down the road. That's the whole idea of it for most of these people.
Well, Cheng Shih finally died in 1844 at the ripe old age of 69.
Really?
Yeah.
And maybe that was as a result of her young husband lover.
Young husband, lover, son.
Exactly.
The legacy.
How many children did she have?
As far as I know, just this one stepson.
Well, that's not having children, but anyway, okay, yeah.
So 0.
Yeah, all right.
The legacy she left behind from the time of her rule has pretty much become part of Chinese popular culture. Even one of the characters in Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Mistress Ching, one of the 9 pirate lords, is based on her.
Was she a bit of a looker?
Well, I'm guessing yes. But nothing is really known about the years she spent in her retirement. But you can only hope that such an accomplished woman spent her last days in peace and anonymity away from the harrowing life on the seas where she made her name.
So, when did she get this pardon from the government, and how long did she live after that?
The pardon came in, well, did I say 1810? So she was around 30 years after that.
All right, so she had a fair old retirement.
Yeah. I mean, they did try to destroy her fleet. The Qing government gathered a massive fleet of warships and set a trap for her fleet. But rather than turn around and run away for a safe harbour, for an enemy that at the time outnumbered her, she sailed right into the government forces. And when the smoke cleared, the Red Flag fleet left behind a graveyard of burning hulks, roughly half of the Qing Navy, and even took a few dozen of their ships home with her.
Wonder what the population of China was 200 years ago.
Probably a mere 1.2 billion.
No, well, that's what it is today. Isn't China 1.2 billion, or is that India?
I don't know.
No, India's less than a billion. Yeah, because I wonder what the whole of the English Navy was.
Probably 150 ships.
Because if you said Blackbeardy, whatever his name is, only had 4 ships.
Yes.
Really?
They were expensive to build. And
yeah,
they were hard to build.
Yeah, but the thing is that the money to be made was absolutely astronomical. And I'm going to quote a Jane Austen story. I can't remember which one it is, where she refuses to marry someone who then goes off to make his fortune at sea. And in fact, he only did 1 trip. And he managed to buy a bloody great big mansion, and he was set for life. So there was an enormous amount of money that you could make on these trips if you got it right. I mean, obviously there was a chance you didn't make it home and you died or drowned or whatever. But I think the international trade in those days was, evidenced by the East India Trading Company that we've covered so many times before.
Yeah.
The wealth that was generated in that period.
A lot of it was through slavery, though. Because the slave trade was very lucrative.
But I still can't get over the fact that there were so many of them. I mean, is the marketplace for piracy that big? It would be like having a mugger literally on every street corner. Eventually, you're going to run out of people to mug.
Well, no, because goods have to travel. If you want commerce, you have to have trade routes.
Yeah, but the thing is that I would think that in those days, in these areas, it's not like you have 20 ships a day. It's like you have one ship a week coming through.
Which is why, if you have your 1,800 ships dotted all over the place, you're bound to catch them.
Actually, you're right. Maybe they did their piracy in gangs. It wasn't just one ship that not surrounded, but pursued you, but it was like 10 ships that surrounded you.
Yeah.
So, sorry, what was this girl's... I say girl, what was this woman's name again?
Cheng Shih.
Cheng Shih.
Now, normally when confronted with a massive fleet of ships, the standard operating procedure for pirates would be to turn away and run. Or maybe they'd wait until some European colonizer needed their ships elsewhere, leaving the pirates free to raid the seas once more. But Cheng Shih was anything but your standard pirate. So being a woman, former sex worker who married into the pirate life, but just happened to be really good at it. She ended up commanding an entire armada with more sailors than most nations could muster. So she also never ran away from the Chinese Navy.
Certainly a bit ballsy, if you can use that expression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bit of a star.
Considering that she was born as Shi Yang into a tanker family, which is a people who lived and worked on junks along the coast of China. And as a young woman, she worked in the brothels, gambling houses and boats of Guangdong. So she came from nothing and ended up retired as the most famous and wealthy pirate of all time.
What you haven't given us, and I'm sure you can quickly look it up, I wonder how much wealth she amassed.
I doubt that anyone really knows.
You know, because I'm thinking, if you've got 1,000 ships or 1,800 ships, you've got 1,800 ships in those days, she must have been one of the richest people in the world.
Well, when she married her husband, his fleet wasn't that big. It was impressive, but after about a year of being married, in 1802, Zheng's cousin, a pirate in his own right, was killed by the Vietnamese. And Zheng had to consolidate power over his cousin's fleet. But thanks to Shi Ying, her business acumen and organizational abilities, the infighting among the pirates was short-lived, and she helped negotiate a truce among the leaders of the pirate fleets into one confederation. So there were 6 fleets, each flying a coloured flag, red, black, blue, white, yellow and purple, and they would now operate essentially as one pirate navy. And that's where she got her massive power and her massive fleet from.
Good. I say good on her. It must have been pretty brutal. I'm sure plenty of people died.
Yeah. So by 1806, every seagoing vessel in the region paid tribute to the pirates for protection. So if you didn't want to get robbed, you still had to pay.
Maybe that's where the mafia got their idea of protection money.
That's where Lloyd's of London got their fucking idea from, isn't it, basically?
Not quite the same concept, Andy, but you carry on. It pretty
much is. It pretty much is. Fucking gangster mafia motherfuckers sell you insurance that is actually worthless. Oh, yes, we insured your ship, but you're telling me it actually sank. Oh, we didn't cover that. That's an act of God, I'm afraid.
Have you ever been to that part of the world?
What, China Sea?
China,
South China Sea.
Philippines, Vietnam.
I have been to the Philippines. I haven't been to China.
I've been to Japan. I've been to Taiwan. I've never been to Korea. I've never been to Vietnam or the Philippines.
I would have liked to have gone to Vietnam, I think.
What was that movie?
Just to see another place where America's army got their ass kicked.
What was that thing? Apocalypse Now? Was that set in Vietnam?
Apocalypse Now, yeah, that was Vietnam War.
What was that Mekong River? That was in Vietnam, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was the river they went up. Isn't that sort of one of the earlier centres of civilization in that part of the world?
Oh, I don't know. If we're talking
That's
paleontology
in South America.
now.
It's not paleontology. Or is it?
Yes, it is.
Paleontology is the study of ancient bones, isn't it?
Well, if you're talking about the earlier centres of civilizations.
No, I suppose so. Or was it in South America? I can never remember. The Incas and all that malarkey.
The Aztecs and the Incas.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an Aztec and an Inca?
I don't know, but you're about to tell me.
No, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? I thought that was a joke. Oh, dear. I so often miss the build-up to a punchline, and I thought that was the build-up to something more.
I've been a bit slack with my jokes lately. They seem to have
What do you mean? You've
off.
never been particularly sharp with your jokes, have you?
My jokes are gold. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's episode, I'm afraid.
All right.
The story of Cheng Shih.
Why is it that they haven't made films of her?
They actually have.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, there is a film. I don't know what it's called. I could probably track it down.
But, when you think of Blackbeard, how many books and films have been made about Blackbeard? Even bloody Disney did Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever it is, and this woman hardly gets a mention.
Yeah, because Chinese.
And she's a woman.
I mean, who has women as heroes?
Oh, you're right. Certainly not. Oh, of course, we've got a new pope. That's what we forgot to talk about earlier.
Oh, who cares?
Well, how many billion Catholics are there?
Do they really care? I mean, aren't most Catholics these days just paying lip service to the whole fucking thing?
Token Catholics.
Yeah, it's just bollocks, isn't it? I think everybody with half a brain has come to realise that religion is just a scam.
I don't think the numbers would support that position, Andy.
I mean, it is, isn't it, though? Fucking scam.
Well,
run by a bunch of scammers.
You're talking to an atheist, so obviously I agree to that extent. But, you can't ignore the fact it's important because he does have influence over a lot of people.
Yeah, he has influence because the fucking Roman Catholic Church is the richest institution on the planet.
Well, what is slightly satisfying, I'm sorry for all those Republican listeners, is that they're not happy with the choice. MAGA is definitely not happy with the choice, that's for sure.
But he has no influence over America. What?
Oh, he does.
Like what? What can he do?
What? The Catholic Church in America is pretty powerful, I can tell you. Absolutely.
So what you're saying, if he tells the Catholics not to vote for Trump, they won't vote for Trump?
Pretty much so. But, I mean, look at the evangelicalists. Evangelicals. The evangelicals were told to vote for Trump.
The evangenitals.
The evangenitals were told to vote for Trump, and that was what brought him into power, certainly the first time round. Wow. No, the Catholic Church, people listen, I mean, people are pretty fervent in their beliefs.
Church and politics, didn't they learn anything from Rome?
I mean, yeah. What are you talking about? Why?
Of
course.
Keep them separate. They've got nothing to do with each other. What has politics, the business of men, got to do with church, which is the business of God?
But you know that now they're reintroducing in various states that Christianity is what is taught in school and everything else is simply tolerated.
Well,
I mean, that's literally what's happening.
Quite rightly.
Quite rightly. Oh, dear.
It didn't do me any harm.
Well, you were brought up a Catholic.
Yeah, I
Don't you
was, yeah.
feel? Don't you feel? Betrayed is sort of heading in the right direction, but the fact that you were a part of the organisation that turned out to be so horribly corrupt.
I don't feel anything except relieved that I
You're no
managed to
longer part
escape
of-
the clutches of the fucking offenders.
Oh,
I never had any bad experiences, but I'm guessing that I probably know people who did.
yeah. Well, you know, I went to a Catholic brothers.
Yeah, but
I
you
won't
don't have
mention who they were, but
you don't have to open up about your experiences or here if
no,
you don't
I didn't
want
have any
to.
experiences. I didn't have any experiences either. But I could have gone to a school where they absolutely did have big problems, and a number of the teachers ended up in prison. But funnily enough, they weren't religious staff, as I recall. But yeah, what got us onto that? Oh, Catholics and the new Pope. That was what brought us. And it's Pope Leo.
I actually lost my virginity in a Roman Catholic school.
Did you? For girls, hopefully. What are you revealing now, Andy?
Father Charles was his name.
After all these years. Oh, dear. In a school? What do you mean? Someone who was attending
come on.
the school?
I said Father Charles was his name.
Oh, dear.
I give up with you.
You're
anyway,
right.
that's it. Let's call this the end. Thank you for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the story of Cheng Shih.
The greatest pirate to have ever lived. And luckily you gave up with a Chinese pirate.
I don't think I could do a Chinese pirate accent. Arr, no, it's just not possible.
Is it? No, exactly.
I think I'd actually have to learn Chinese to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you all again next week.
Very good.
Have yourselves a strange... Oh, yeah, listen, don't forget, you can join us on our Facebook page, Strange Stuff Podcast, somewhere on Facebook, I don't know, where you'll get notified of when our episodes are released, if you don't know by now, because this is episode 190. We are 10 away from the big 200.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. Have yourselves a strange week. If you do go pirating, don't do it in the South China Sea, because there's a lot of them there already. Go somewhere a little less populated and see if you can get me a stereo. Have yourselves a great time. We'll see you same time next week. Bye for now.
Very good. Bye for now. Bye for now.